This morning, Top Thrill Dragster's revamp was finally announced, and to our surprise, the Top Thrill 2 placeholder name was actually true. After following the ride since it closed, seeing it finally be re-announced was surreal. However, is it as good as the original, and what do I think of the ride as a whole? Here are my honest thoughts on Top Thrill 2. So, one of my main predictions of Top Thrill 2 was revamping the surrounding area. This was common recently with Cedar Fair editions, and having this be the weakest area in the park makes sense for a revamp. Evident from the teasers, there is a very small revamp occurring, which in some ways is disappointing. I guess it was a little far-fetched to assume that a restaurant or shop would be in place. From what I can tell, there is no new restaurant area in the works for this area of the park, making the closest back be queue or Coaster's Dine-In. However, the Speed Zone gift shop looks like it's getting expanded and remodeled based on the animation. In real life, this gift shop is much smaller than shown in the trailer. In addition, the iconic grandstands holding the crowds watching the launch have been removed. This is disappointing, but I get why they did it. In all honesty, the grandstands were ugly and outdated. While it fits the racing theme of the ride well, a newly updated seating area would be appreciated, which is exactly what Cedar Point did. In addition to some expanded pathways, a new covered seating area will be in place where the grandstands of the original dragster were. So the area doesn't have a lot of changes except for the shop and the grandstand removal. However, there is visible theming on a lot of the walls around the area. Also, I was very surprised by the boardwalk area of the park, so while I'm making it seem like not a lot happened, I'm sure visually this area of the park will look fantastic. So I very much approve of the overall area. Now let's talk about the name and queue. The name is what a lot of people were disappointed by, and I understand why. After all this mystery with the logo, CP Racing, and the teasers, having Top Thrill 2 be the name is underwhelming. I was very surprised by the name, as I thought Cedar Point would want nothing to do with the ride after the accident in 2021. However, looking back on the name, it fits the ride well. This is still Top Thrill Dragster, without the hydraulic launch. So Top Thrill still works, and 2 makes sense, as it adds a second hill and acts as a sequel to the original ride. Is it cheesy? Yes. Is it underwhelming? Yes. But does it work? Yes. I'm still not the biggest fan of it, and I think calling it something more unique would have been better, but at least the enthusiasts can refer to it as TT2 now. So what about the queue line? Everyone, including me, expected the queue line to be moving from its original area, but we were all wrong. The exit and the actual queue are in the same spot. The end of the queue does stretch out a little further, but the main chunk of it is still near the brake run. This is probably because of the new Lightning trains. These trains are lighter and are probably designed differently from the Strata trains to make sure the accident never happens again. What I'm hoping for though, and what we can't tell from the video, is a small show area in the middle of the queue. A small show scene like Orion's Q House would be appreciated, especially because the pre-show people were hoping for is not on this coaster. Starting the ride experience, you board your trains. I'm really excited about these trains. They look extremely comfortable. In my opinion, Zamperella's trains on Wild Mouse are great, and these look super similar to Intamin's multi-launch trains, which makes me excited. And the best news, this ride still has lap bars, no bulky over-the-shoulder restraints or hard plastic restraints like King Ka. There is no pre-launch segment, which was expected. After passing over the switch track, you hit the first hydraulic launch. So this is what I'm most disappointed about. I was expecting the first launch to propel the trains to at least halfway up the spike, and the second launch backwards would just maintain that speed so you would fly up the spike. The first launch is still 74 miles per hour, which is insane on its own, but on a ride of this size, that only gets you up to where the track hits vertical. Basically, what I'm saying is I expected the launch to be faster. The best moment on the old coaster was that launch because of how intense it was. This launch is going to be nowhere near as intense. However, I am extremely pumped for the new negatives on this coaster. The negatives rising up the top hat will be equivalent to negatives found on swinging rides, like Max Air. Backward is also going to be super interesting. The spike valley looks super intense, and you will be weightless all the way down that 420-foot spike. While you don't reach all the way up the spike, I'm still excited to see how it feels. Being that high up and seeing the world fall away from you is terrifying. I've ridden Mr. Freeze at Six Flags St. Louis, and that spike was my favorite element. Having one 100 feet taller than that is going to be epic. After dropping back down, then you reach the top speed of 120 miles per hour and rocket over the top hat. The top hat is still going to throw riders out of their seats, just like the old coaster. Am I excited? Absolutely. The launch is disappointing, but the new element, new weightlessness, and backward drop are going to be super thrilling. So, is Top Thrill 2 fit for Cedar Point? Absolutely it is, and anyone saying it isn't obviously has never been to this park. Top Thrill 2 will be the only coaster in the park to go backwards, and having a backward coaster go over 400 feet in the air is absolutely ridiculous. And in typical Cedar Point fashion, this ride is breaking records. The world's tallest and fastest multi-launch coaster, the world's tallest spike, etc. So not only will the GP love it, but the enthusiasts will flock to experience the backward spike and weightlessness over 400 feet in the air. Also, if the original dragster fits Cedar Point's lineup, then this ride automatically fits in the lineup too. So I understand why some people are disappointed, but I am still super excited to experience a ride of this size, both forward and backward. While the name is weird and the launch is a tad disappointing, the rest of the ride makes up for it. And I guarantee, just like Wild Mouse and the Boardwalk, it will be better than we are all expecting. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment what you think of Top Thrill 2 and have a great rest of your day.